Hello and welcome to the content untitled end of year thing. My name is Porto and I've brought with me some special friends. So starting at the top, we've got a man of science, a man of the people, Mr. AguskunJP. How are you today, sir?
I'm good, aka Evita Peron. All for the people.
All for the people.
I'm very good. Thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. To the side of JP, we have the renowned puncher of billies, Mr. AudaxSmoke.
Hello today.
How you doing, sir?
How's it going, guys? Going good. Thanks for having me, man.
Proprietor of OnlyCrans, the world's filthiest website. A man of the people also, Mr. CranberryPudding. How you doing, sir?
Business is booming over at OnlyCrans.
I've seen what you got going on over there. It's pretty sick.
We're thinking about annual memberships in 2021. But seriously, thanks for having me. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I'm really excited. And the one and only disciple of cult leader, Pastor Mark, we have MyNameIsTrout. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. God bless.
Guys, I'm really excited that we're doing this. I thought it'd just be a fun chance to get together and kind of talk about 2020 in gaming, 2020 in streaming. So the categories we're going to speak about today are, if I remember them, favorite game to stream, least favorite game to stream, favorite game to spectate, game you most wanted to stream but didn't get around to. I feel like I have a few of those. And what's the other one? Favorite addition to your stream this year. And then we're going to finish with some predictions looking forward into 2020. Did you guys find this easy or hard to do?
Yeah, it was pretty simple. I mean, it was interesting. I found myself having to write down my answers that immediately came to the top of my head, but then had a little battle with myself trying to justify them. Was it really that bad in the end? Or was it really that good in the end?
I thought it was pretty easy. There were a couple in the questions that we'll get to that I put a little bit of thought into because there were multiple options, like favorite game to watch. There were probably 10 different possible games on that list that I really enjoyed. So narrowing it down was maybe an issue, but it wasn't an issue I just came up with a blank, I had pretty clear-cut answers, clear-cut winners in each category.
I found it easier to pick the game I least liked than, I don't know, I found for the other categories it was, I sort of had about 3 possible options, and then narrowing it down was pretty tricky for me also.
I guess that shows how much you hate games, Porto.
I know. Well, it shows how I'm just much more confident in my negative opinions.
Yeah.
Shall we get started, guys?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So I'm thinking it might be easy for us to go, clockwise from the top. So I guess we'd start with JP and sort of go in the order that we introduced and just go around like that.
Yep.
Excellent. So let's start with favorite game to stream.
I had a little bit of doubt about which one to choose here, but at the end I chose Hollow Knight. I think because the other option is going to be chosen by Audax. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But Hollow Knight, I don't know. Personally, my stream also took off a little bit with Hollow Knight. It was the first time that people that I didn't know came into the stream, so that was actually good to see. There is a huge. Then I discovered there is a huge community in Twitch, and I think it's growing and growing. I think more people are loving Hollow Knight, so I think it's a great game to stream. I think it's gonna be going on for longer time, and now with the sequel coming up soon, I guess. If you haven't played that, I think it's a great game to stream, and it also has the Dark Souls style, you die, there is a struggle, so people love to watch you struggling. So I don't know, and it's beautiful, so it's very good.
Yeah, I've watched a bit of you playing that this year, and I first played Hollow Knight the year before, off stream, obviously, and it is a beautiful game, and I think it is a really satisfying one for viewers to watch, particularly as you get further into the more challenge sections. I think I personally didn't get to, like, you've been doing the Pantheon as well, right?
Yeah, and I finished the 112%, so or like the content of the game. But there is the 5th Pantheon, which is like this, like all the bosses of the game. I guess I haven't finished it yet, but I'm doing that once a week, like a couple of hours. So yeah, hopefully I get to finish, and I can call myself Hollow Knight Pro.
Yes. Also, Australian dev game, so shout outs to Australia.
Yeah, like I can't believe 3 people made that. Like, I'm just looking forward for to the next one to see what they bring on, because only 3 people making that like piece of art is just, yeah.
I'm actually
great.
very excited for Silksong.
Yeah, it's fun to watch though, Hollow Knight. I've watched a little bit of your like doing the boss rush, the Pantheon, and it's not a game I would play because I'm terrible at platformers and like that kind of game. But it's neat to watch because the art style is so unique. It's a really unique style. So it's been fun to watch your streams.
Game has a wonderful soundtrack too. I don't know if you mentioned that.
Yeah, and I didn't, but yeah, the music is amazing. Like the Grim, I think is the battle. That is like one of the bosses. Like, oh my god! When I had to redo it. I was fighting him like 3 hours until I beat him, but I loved it because the music was amazing. I was like so hyped by the music all the time.
That's a great pick.
I'm really excited to try that one eventually. I've been sitting on it for a while and just.
I think you'll like it. I think you'll really like it.
I feel like it's one of those Metroidvanias that like really captures. I feel like a lot of Metroidvanias maybe rush it a bit too much or get caught up in the ability of choice, whereas that game really focuses on like it makes you get the right items to progress. You know, like it does what Metroid and Castlevania did so well, and they stayed true to that. You know, and I think that game's so good. Yeah.
So Agus kind of alluded to that he might have an idea, and he's close. It is actually in my honorable mention. Agus was alluding to Hades. And actually, what helped me realize why I have been enjoying Hades and have enjoyed Hades so much is because of my game of the year, which was Diablo 1.
Yo! Big.
Something about playing that was the most comfortable I felt all year of streaming. Like you don't always feel comfortable putting yourself out there every single night. You might, your mood might be here or whatever. Something might have happened during that day. But it's like no matter what happened, when I put on Diablo 1, it was like I just felt like myself. No matter what was going on in chat or activity wise with the stream, I was just happy to be playing Diablo 1. And I was able to because you can play Diablo 1 in kind of a few different ways. Like you can play it expressively in a way. Whether you play, what I did is I went through and I played through all the characters. I did a playthrough with each character. The first playthrough I did is I abused the game and I performed this broken duping glitch that can give you infinite money. I was like, fuck it, I'm coming back to Diablo. I'm going in hard. I just want to enjoy it. So I broke the game and that's how I did my run with the warrior. And just refamiliarized myself with the game because it had been, I want to say 6 or 7 years since I touched it. So it was like something about it was just perfect, the nostalgia. But so I went through and did the broken playthrough and learned the whole game again. And then I went and played honest playthroughs where I didn't do any of the duping glitch and kind of put a little more challenge to it and did a playthrough with the rogue next. And then I did a playthrough with the sorcerer. And then on Good Old Games, they give you this is the digital version they release on Good Old Games. They give you the Hellfire expansion as well, which is this weird third-party developed official expansion by Sierra, old school 90s Sierra. They added a bunch of wacky shit and an entirely new character class, and I did a playthrough of that and just like was like, this is great in some points. Or like, this is definitely not made by old school Blizzard. This is... It was just, and then I did something kind of creative with my webcam at the time where I put on these filters where I had the weird orange, just like shadow effect, and then I had the webcam slowly scrolling down into the right.
The descent into hell. I remember that.
Yeah. So it's like I just had so much fun with it, and it's just like I can't remember if it was like coming off of like a more stressful game or something. Like I feel like it was soon after I did like Phoenix Wright, which was like a lot of voice acting, great game, but I did a lot of shitty voice acting for Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, and it burnt me out. Honestly, I had to invite people onto the stream to help do that voice acting. So I think it was playing Diablo after that was a big like just reset, just wonderful experience. I highly recommend streaming Diablo 1 if you enjoy an old school isometric action RPG.
That was also my introduction to your channel, Audax. That was
you were hanging out a lot around there.
That was like some of the first times I really got to experience your stream, and I remember that was like a great first impression of like the wacky cam with the descent into the hell, and just I was like, oh, this guy's all right.
Embracing it, and then again that isometric camera, I think, is why I like Hades so much as well. It kind of gave me the same feeling of playing. It's this weird familiar camera that not all games have, and it's just I've always been a huge fan of it. And just the music of Hades kind of reminds me of Diablo, old school Diablo a little bit. So Hades is definitely an honorable mention, though. I want to give Agus credit for that guess, because that was a close pick for Game of the Year for me.
Yeah, I have to say, Diablo 1. I have memories with that game, dude. Like, there were probably 2 or 3 summers in a row where that's all I did for the entire summer, which is like level a character as much as you can, play the game over and over again.
It's so
like
good.
Old school Blizzard is just on another level. Like Warcraft 2, StarCraft, Warcraft 3 was really good. Yeah,
3 was the stopping point for me.
Yeah, Diablo 2 was obviously the best of any of those. Like,
yeah.
2 is so good. It's on another level.
We don't talk about Diablo 3.
No.
Yeah.
Is it actually bad? Because I've been like thinking of picking it up.
It's okay. If you got a buddy to run through it with, it's fun to, hang out in a voice and mindlessly mob around.
That's what I think too. It's a game that requires get some buddies, play and mess around with it. For sure.
Is it just because the aesthetic changed? Is that the main drawback, do you think?
No, it's menuing and systems. Leveling up is just streamlined. It just feels like there's way less freedom in how you level up a character. And
there's less diversity between the characters. Like there's not a huge difference between the barbarian and the mage. They're like, by the end of it, they're essentially the same character. Like,
okay,
the abilities all kind of relate to other abilities that other classes have. So it's kind of they all step on each other's toes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of an oversimplification of the RPG experience then.
Path of Exile, though. Path of Exile is a good fix.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, it's really good.
Mr. Cranberry Pudding.
It's going to seem... It's Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it's not just because this game blew my socks off or it was everything that I wanted it to be. It's because I had streamed a little bit prior to that. I'd probably been streaming for 2 months, and I'd found a few people that had come by or whatever, and I think I was streaming Ancestors Humankind Odyssey, and I got a few people in there, but Final Fantasy came out, and then these people just decided to like stick around and hang with me for the journey, because for whatever reason they couldn't get the game right. It wasn't on PC, or they had Xboxes, and they wanted to play that. So as we went through that together, that's when I had the idea to stream all fantasy games, and it changed my whole path. It gave me a purpose for like 2 months on Twitch, and that burn and that drive, sort of being able to share my love for this thing, for this franchise, with everybody, and having it be just that automatic like opening door, like, this is easy for you, this is something well. It changed the way I looked at streaming, and made me want to do it. So and not only that, it made me cry. No other games made me cry. So
tears of joy, I presume.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, the music did everything, it really recreated the element, and I was happy to share that with other people, and see them have those. Well, watch them type their reactions, but assume that they're similar. Yeah.
I'm happy you chose that one because it's one of my games of the year. I didn't stream it because I started streaming right after Final Fantasy VII Remake, but is the reason I started streaming because I wanted to talk to people about Final Fantasy VII Remake. So I'm happy you chose that one. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
That's the only game that came out this year that I have actively avoided watching on Twitch because I really do want to replay it. Oh, I do want to play it for the first time, rather. So yeah, hearing these good things about it makes me very happy. It looks gorgeous, the 5 minutes of it I've seen.
It's a special game, what it's able to accomplish in a world where they can make games look like that, but often make it suffer so badly in content and ability to do things. They just knocked it out of the park. You do everything you want to be able to do, and it looks pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also in a world where games, the more hyped the game, the more chance that it's going to be railed on the internet, as we've seen recently. The fact that it didn't really get much blowback, I feel like is a testament to how good the game is, or how much of an effort they put in on it.
So many things could have gone wrong with that game, and they didn't. So,
you mentioned like streaming all the Final Fantasies and how you were like, you've got this, this. I think there's something to be said for the comfortability level of streaming a game that you're intimately familiar with.
Yeah.
I know that blind playthroughs are really popular, but for me, I have way more fun playing a game that I can kind of like, it's almost like the game takes a backseat because I can like entertain the viewers. So as much fun as a blind playthrough is, I think there's something to be said for streaming games that you like It's like, oh, that's my thing. I've been doing this for 30 years. Like I can do it in front of people now.
Yeah.
It's like finding the game that brings out like a natural charisma or allows you to have a more natural charisma is I think that's really important.
Yeah. So for my favorite game to stream, I actually didn't pick a single game. I picked the Halo series. As you guys know, I've been doing like every Friday without fail, except when we fail. We stream Halo. We started with Halo 1. We did Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo ODST, Reach, and just yesterday we finished the 4th game in the series. So like all of basically the whole series that's available on PC. And I don't know anything about the lore. I never understood what was going on, but the fun for me was streaming it with Spudsy. Like we have a really good energy together when we stream, and it was a good introduction to like co-streaming. And we just had a blast. Like I suck at the game, so he was constantly saving me, which kind of presented a lot of funny opportunities. And those games are good, man. They're like solid mechanics. Everything's real clean. The graphics are good, even on the original art style. So I picked the whole Halo series, which is about 10 years worth of games.
That's a great choice. And I've really enjoyed what I've seen of the Spudsy, Trouty co-streams. My favorite part is actually when you skip through the cutscene and then ask Spudsy what the hell's going on, and he gets like slightly annoyed at you.
I skipped every cutscene, and then immediately I'd be like, "So where are we?"
Oh man, do you have a favorite in the series?
Yeah, Halo 1. I was just gonna say, like Halo 1 for me, like changed multiplayer gaming, because before that, for the most part, you had some sessions playing GoldenEye with friends, but for the most part, good multiplayer gaming for shooters was all on the PC. And then when Halo came out, you had like LAN parties, 16 players all playing at once. I'd go to a friend's house and there were like literally like 16 kids from school all packed into this living room, like playing split screen. It was fun, man. It was great. And it kind of changed shooters on the console, I think.
Yeah, a lot of people credit GoldenEye with that, but I think Halo was the real step.
It was way more
quality gaming on the console.
Plasma grenades only.
So then you must be excited that you're able to play Blood Gulch in Fortnite now.
Oh, I didn't know that. I had no idea. Wow.
Yep.
Fortnite.
Yeah, Blood Gulch is a legend.
You can get a Master Chief outfit and play Blood Gulch in 4. Maybe we'll try that someday.
We might have checked that out.
Maybe we will.
Yeah.
I haven't been consulted about this. So, moving on to my favorite game to stream this year. Look, I want to be different. I want to be surprising, but I'm not going to. It was Morrowind.
Nice.
Look, there's something to be said for how many hours you put into a game and still want to put in. I'm into like 170 hours or something like that right now. It's a wild open world. It's probably one of the most unique games I've ever played. But I think the thing that made it great to stream is the pace of the game. It is the most leisurely game. You can just do nothing. You can do 10 hours of nothing and feel like you did everything. You just read a couple of short stories and, fought a couple of birds. And it just, I don't know, something about the music, the atmosphere, the weird lore, just the goofy jankiness of it all really led to just very fun streams. And I found a lot of my more memorable interactions came from streaming that game. And just some of the things I look back upon fondly, I think, were not necessarily about the game, but were brought about through that game. And it's a fun one to share. People are very passionate about it as well. Like, I met a lot of people who just have a very deep connection with it in the same way that I would with like a Final Fantasy VII or something like that. I think that's Trout. I think that's how we met, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, I met you because you were streaming Morrowind, and by extension, I never would have met any of the rest of you without that chance encounter. So thank you, Morrowind.
Thank you.
Wait, I thought you guys were brothers.
Yeah, exactly.
Long lost brothers.
You are not?
Morrowind brought us back together.
Exactly. It helped us find each other once more.
I think one of the first streams that I really watched you, I remember first watching you do some Mario and Luigi GBA game.
Yeah.
But after that, right. But after that, you did Morrowind, and it really felt like you did a ton of community building at that. Like, people really kind of came around the fire to listen to the lore. Like, that was a really fun time to lurk in your chats, and it is commemorated.
Yes.
Pictures of the boy. And I thought that was really cool, that you commemorated this and sent that out to some people. And that it's interesting you say that, because for me, that's the thing I associate you with too, to this day.
Well, and that, again, that speaks volumes too. Like, that image was created by Max Pasta, who hangs out in stream still. They just were so hyped about me sort of playing it that they just made it for me without me even asking. And so, like, yeah, it did bring about a lot of community vibes, and I'm forever grateful. Shall we move on to something more negative?
Yeah.
That's what I was. I came here for that.
Yeah.
Let it flow.
Negativity.
Now the preamble of things we like is out of the way.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our least favorite game to stream of the year.
Oh, I thought it was least favorite viewer. Okay, that's good.
Oh shit. Well.
Oh my god, least favorite game. Like, actually, I agree with Port. I had a few candidates for the. I chose Octopath Traveler.
Oh.
What's the tea, Christine? So, Octopath Traveler. It's not related to actually the views or anything. I think like I had more views than the previous game that I streamed, so it wasn't that. But I felt people were lurking a lot, but there was very little chat interaction there, and I felt like I had to read a lot. And it's about the game. Like, the stories are not connected, so there is no like I don't know, like when I stream like The Last of Us 2, you don't have to read, and there's a different challenge, but the story is the same from the beginning to the end. So people who come to the stream are like kind of invested in what you're doing. But with Octopus Traveler, you have 8 independent stories. So people would come into the chat and be like, so what's happening? So who are you playing as? Yeah, there was not so much connection between the viewers and the game. So I chose that game because of that. I mean, I love the game. I play like 70 hours, but it's the only game that I started streaming and I played most of the time out off stream because I thought it would be better to play off stream than during the stream. I just played at the end. I did all the grinding and I only played the last 3 bosses in the stream and then finished.
That's an interesting point, though. Like people, it's nice as a viewer in Twitch or on whatever stream to know vaguely where you are when you come in.
Yeah, I mean, it was my complaint also, like personally for the game. Like then I was expecting the stories to come together at the end or something, and they actually never do. So
really?
Yeah, they don't. Like they are completely independent. Like it's like there is no reason for these 8 characters to travel together. To be honest. Yeah.
Has anyone else played this here?
I haven't. I was going to say, though, I've been watching Bizid play, and I don't pay attention to the narrative because, yeah, you're right. Like, I never know what the fuck's going on. But when I watch it, it's all about the art. Like, the art style in that game is so insane. Like, beautiful. The 2D, 3D composite stuff, very cool. So I never even worry about and the pixel art is so incredible. Like, so I'm never worried about the narrative. I'm always, like, just in awe of the design in that game.
Yeah, I played it, and I find that it's very much like Agus says. It's jarring even as a player to like, oh, which story am I on now?
Yeah, it felt for me. It felt like a missed opportunities. Like what I would define the game because it's so good, but then you can see it could be so much better. Like if the stories were well done, because the art is amazing. There are many like I love the RPG. Component of it, like leveling up, the magic, all those things were very good. I was very into it. Like I loved grinding. Like normally I don't like grinding so much, but yeah, for streaming, I felt some kind of way when I was streaming Octopus Traveler.
So I also had a couple choices, but I was actually talking to Agus before we started the recording session, and I think I'm going to go with this one. It was unfortunately Donkey Kong Country 1, but with the caveat I was trying to speedrun it.
Oh, okay.
And I don't... It's a wonderful game. Everyone loves Donkey Kong Country 1. It's the best game on the planet. I now know how speedrunning can make you not enjoy one of your favorite games on the planet. So I tried to... So I have casually speedrun it in the past before I was streaming, just for my own sake. And my best time is 1 hour and 8 minutes. And I remember taking a photo of that because I was showing a buddy, Kamikaze Frost, that I was like, look how good I'm doing, look how good I'm doing. So I always had this photo that proved I could sort of do it. So I threw that, I do a slideshow on my BRB screen. So I've had that photo in my BRB screen slideshow since I've been streaming all year. And so this imaginary pressure swelled in my head that people were seeing that photo and expecting me to speedrun Donkey Kong. This is all in my head. This is completely in my head. Literally no one ever messaged. They're always commenting on the photo where Kirby's like sucking on a butt.
It's good photo.
Yeah, eat the booty like groceries. Listen to Kirby. And so no one's ever commented on the Donkey Kong Country actual photo of my... And I still have that cartridge. I've gotten rid of like most of my Super Nintendo game. But I still have the one cartridge with that 1 hour and 8 minute save file on it. So literally I could stream that and prove that the shit's real. But I wanted to, okay, so now I got to do it on stream. And I start watching some of the old videos, like, because I used to watch the speedrun and play along with it, is how I played it when I was just doing casually. So you literally can't watch a speedrun though while you're streaming. I mean, you can, like, I don't know. I just felt like that wouldn't be entertaining. So I put all this pressure on myself to learn the speedrun. But then I got obsessed with, okay, well, I started not completing runs because I started obsessing on tricks, perfect inputs, perfect movement. You got to roll and break the barrel at the same time and lose Diddy. and so I was literally just playing the first stage over and over and over and over and over and over again for a week. I fucking hate that first stage now. But it's and so I was like actively externally like frustrated the whole time. And I was like, and in my brain I'm like, well, people are gonna watch because it's Donkey Kong Country, but it's like I don't want people to watch me for like being the frustrated guy. Like that has been like very actively one of my goals to not be on Twitch, even though I'm playing some stupid challenge runs sometimes. So I just and then the best time I could ever get was like an hour and 34 minutes. So I just felt like it paled so bad in my old personal best that I just felt like I failed like performing this game. And actually, so I misremembered when I was talking about Diablo being my favorite game and how I played it after a stressful experience. The stressful experience was Donkey Kong Country 1. Because I remember I started saying, "Oh, this is the Diablo 1 is the better game that starts with the letter D." And even on my stream today, I have a sprite from Diablo 1, Gabbard the Weak, like it's just literally like the shittiest enemy in Diablo 1, and he's constantly attacking Diddy.
Now
and
I understand it.
I wondered why that was on there. Yeah.
So there is some actual symbolism for those two particular gifts that are always on my stream, where Diablo 1 came and saved my soul from the despairs of Donkey Kong Country 1 speedrunning. And I still have like a personal vendetta. I would like to try it one day again, but maybe in 2022. Maybe I'm going to let myself maybe just go back to trying to sincerely just do casual runs is like something I have to actively and consciously do if I want to try and enjoy that game again.
That's so good that of the two, the one that saved your soul is the one with the aesthetic of going to hell, and the one that destroyed you is this like cute.
I slept on so many banana peels. I'll just say that. Mentally and emotionally.
Did you guys remember when that game came out? That was like blew us out of the water. Like
that was my first Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's 3D, dude.
Yeah, that was like, oh, it's the next generation of gaming. This is
dude.
it. You know?
Yeah, they looked.
I just recently played that on stream like last week and almost rage quit. I ended the stream after an hour and a half. I was like, that's enough. I gotta go, guys.
Yeah.
And I just want to bullet point that it's the 101% speed run. It's not just the beat it. I'm actually trying to go through and get every bonus as well.
Oh, wow. Oh,
that was maybe I should just do the casual speed run first, where you just any percent.
Any percent, yeah.
I don't know.
And was that was your first speed running on stream thing?
On stream, yeah.
Okay.
I did end up doing a speed run of Blazing Chrome, which was a perfectly fine experience. I had fun. Apparently, I'm 6th in the world if I submit the video. So for PC at least.
That's dope. Has anyone else here speedrun before?
Never.
I don't know, but I'm very happy that Audax is saying all this because my first speedrun is gonna be very soon.
Yeah, don't speedrun like how I speedrun.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait. When you speedrun it, I don't know if people know that people know it's coming up, FF8, right?
Yeah, Final Fantasy 8, yeah.
So when you do it, are you expected to read the dialogue?
No.
Okay.
Like, the idea came from another streamer that I watched, and she was like, I just discovered her when she was doing the Final Fantasy VIII speedrun, and then she did it in one go, like 12 hours, and I happened to have Saturday off, which is uncommon, and I could see like the process of it. I was like, what? She was having fun, so I was like, wow, this is kind of fun. So I did this like the sub goal for that, and then the subs were gifted in one day. Thank you, Val. Then I have to do it now. But I've been 1 week. This previous week I've been researching on the speedrun, and oh my fucking god, I played that game like 10 times, and I don't understand the notes about the speedrun. Like I don't know what's happening. So what I'm gonna do like practice streams and try to be chill, like kind of like, this is a practice, it's not the real speedrun. Right. Let's do this together. Otherwise,
if the time's really good, then you're like, oh, that was the real run. That was it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cranberry Pudding, least favorite game of 2020.
It was tough. This was way harder than the favorite, but because 3 shot out to me right away, and it was just like, which one of these 3 was English? But the answer has got to be It's got to be The Witcher 3. I tried, and the reason is really that one is I tried streaming it 2 times, 2 separate times, 2 separate mind frames, trying to get into this game. It's probably not for me, but I think what really bothers me even more is now that I'm playing Cyberpunk and it has a lot of the same menu system that I'm getting this urge to play it again, even and like I know that I'm just gonna get to the same part again and just be like, I don't like this. This game is trash. But more than the game being bad itself, I think what was really hard for me is streaming a game that is very precious to a lot of people and having a reaction. And I'm not out there constantly trashing the game unless your name is Final Fantasy X, but like I'm out there just sort of giving my opinions. Like, I think this is lame. I think this 2-sword system is cumbersome. I think that you have to go get a book in some random place that the game didn't tell me to go. And everybody's got their opinions on these things. It was the same when I played Final Fantasy X. I didn't like it, but people were constantly trying to prove to me that it was a good game. Where it was like, you don't have to prove that to me. It's great that you like it, but I felt like I was stepping on sacred territory half the time because I didn't flip my lid over these games that a lot of people had. But yeah, the runner-up is Final Fantasy X because I don't like that game, so it was a slog to get through it. Plus, it's like stepping on sacred ground. But The Witcher I tried twice, so I feel like that's really my bane.
Yeah, that's a really beloved title as well. One that I don't have any stock in, but I think Agus, I feel like you're a fan of The Witcher 3.
One of the 2 games to get a 10 out of 10 in Agus score.
Yes. Now we must.
So, to be honest, like I guess like I was very surprised because I restarted playing games and then I restarted with The Witcher 3 and I was like, wow, this is games have improved a lot. So I was very surprised. But I get what Cranberry is saying. Like, I'm sorry, I think I was one of the persons in the chat say like, The Witcher 3 is amazing, Cranberry. You have to play. Give it another chance. And I feel sorry because I would hate to be the guy, like, let's say I don't like a very like beloved game, and I would hate to be like the streamer that has to say like every 5 minutes, like, actually I'm not enjoying this. And like you deserve all the right to not enjoy a game that the 90% of the population enjoy. So yeah, I get why you wouldn't like to like get people in the chat who love the game and then you are not loving it at all. So yeah.
You know what it feels like? It feels like being, if you go to like a gathering of people and like there's a dog there and you're the only one that the dog doesn't like. Like that's the way it feels, right? Like why can't I? But maybe if I give him a treat, he'll like me. But no, they just hate you the entire time.
I thought it was interesting that you brought up that like these beloved games, and how they have like fan bases that are very protective of them. I haven't dealt with it with The Witcher, but like just the other day I was playing Half-Life and had like one of those people that are like, you have to have it with the correct settings on the right hardware, running at the right frame rate, or they won't watch, and it's like, okay, see ya.
yeah. What can I do?
So,
I'm trying my best here, yeah.
Or like I stream a lot of Morrowind, and I'm not crazy about Skyrim as a game, but the Elder Scrolls community loves Skyrim. So when I talk about why I think it's a shitty game, I get like, either the defenders or the people that get mad,
Yeah.
So I prefer the defenders, honestly.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing getting mad about a game, like getting mad. Like, I don't know, it's almost as if people feel that if you all don't agree with my assertion on a game, then my opinion's somehow not as valid.
Or it's part of their identity, so you're attacking them when you say that their favorite game sucks.
Yeah.
Which
really
shouldn't be.
They suck.
It shouldn't be a part of your identity.
No.
The thing you like doesn't
is,
make you who you are.
But it is that. It's an attack on somebody's taste, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But even even if you create the game, you should be like allow yourself for criticism because
of course.
Yeah, and these people didn't even create, just played it. But yeah. I mean, I guess we all been there too. Like something you really love, and then someone says something negative, and you're like, "What?"
Oh yeah, I understand. I understand the emotional reaction. 100%. It's you know, it's more that there's people that just like go in on it. They need to defend it, right? I understand. You know, if somebody turns to me and says Final Fantasy VII is the worst of the bunch, I'll be like, "What?" Like, no, I'll tell you. And then, but you can't just belittle them over what I felt was happening to me, at least.
I had kind of the same thing with The Last of Us too. Like, it was one of the first games I streamed on. I mean, I wasn't as popular as I'm now, but I didn't have so many people.
So fucking popular, man. You're so fucking popular.
Such a popular guy.
But no, the people who came, many people came to shit on the game because that was a very controversial game. And I was on the other side of the spectrum. I was enjoying the game. And there was this dynamic, like people would come to like actually I was lucky because no one was kind of aggressive on like this game is shit. But you could see like they wanted to convince me that this game was shit and I was having none of it. So it was a kind of weird dynamic there. So I get why you don't want to stream something that is gonna be polarizing and like
And I actually watched your discussion with Chaim Derek Tan about that game, and you guys had very different opinions about The Last of Us 2 as well. But dealt with it in a mature fashion. There wasn't like a, well, fuck you, and I'm out of here kind of thing.
I mean, we did that, but I edited out.
Yeah.
My name is Trout. Least favorite game to stream of 2020.
This one might surprise you guys because you guys know I love Half-Life. You know I love the whole series. I've streamed a ton of it on my channel. But Half-Life Opposing Force, technically just an expansion pack, but I played Half-Life 1, loved it. I still love it. I've been playing it since it came out. Absolutely loved it. I played Blue Shift, where you play as the security guard, Barney, and that was even better. Like, it was so good. And then I go to play Opposing Force. I haven't played it in like 15 years. And it's awful. It's really bad. It's glitchy. It's way harder than the other ones to a point where it like wasn't fun anymore. I got to the final boss and spent an entire stream trying to beat this one boss over and over and over again. Like save scumming every time I made any progress.
Oh, I think I watched you do that actually.
Yeah, you were there for that. Yeah, and I did not have fun with it at all. Like the entire game, they tried to add all of these new things that didn't need to be added, like squad management and stuff. And it was fitting to the theme of the game, but it didn't work, you know, on a technical level. A lot of the stuff just didn't work, like climbing ropes and stuff. Just, it was all broken. So that's my answer. Half-Life Opposing Force, did not have fun. Will never stream it again.
Don't tell the Half-Life community; they'll come right.
Yeah, seriously.
They already don't like me. They're not popular with those people.
It's because you weren't streaming in 1080p.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be able to stick to the ladders more easily in 1080p.
Yeah. You need to lock the frames at 78.
There you go.
I hate ladders and ropes in 90s first-person shooters.
Ugh.
They're still bad. They still haven't fixed them. Like,
yeah.
I have trouble sometimes on Cyberpunk with ladders.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude. So it's a problem today. It remains a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know how they haven't figured it out. How long was, how many hours did you have to endure to stream that expansion pack?
It's like 8 hours. It's probably a 6-hour game, but it took me 8 hours because I kept dying over and over again. Maybe 10, you know. It's pretty short. It's just like a little one-off adventure, but it sucks, and I don't recommend anyone ever touch it.
So speaking of Half-Life, my least favorite game to stream of 2020 was not Half-Life. My least favorite game to stream of 2020 was To the Moon.
Yeah.
An indie game. Have you guys heard of To the Moon?
I'm not familiar with it.
I heard that it was supposed to make you cry.
It made me yawn.
It
To the Moon is flawed on so many levels, and there were many reasons that made it tricky to stream and tricky to enjoy. The first part is kind of what Cranberry alluded to with when you stream a beloved game. people that liked To the Moon. I had not a lot, but I had several new people coming in who were like, oh my God, my favorite game. This is the most beautiful experience ever. Like, you're going to feel, like, sort of promising that I will feel these certain emotions. And this game, you know, like, it's, you know, greater than life itself, and it's going to make you understand the human condition. And it's first and foremost, it's not a game. It's a graphic novel, or a you know,
visual novel.
It's a visual novel. It's a narrative experience, and that's fine. But I got to a point in the game where as I was scrolling through cutscenes and occasionally walking around and interacting with an object, and then walking back and triggering another cutscene. It's overly verbose. You could have written the same story in half the time with half the words. And the idea is that you're supposed to, in this game, it's sort of like a combination between Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and something like Inception, where it's a cool idea. There's these doctors or scientists that are entering the mind of a dying man and sort of looking at his regret and trying to fulfill his last wish of going to the moon. And as you progress through his life in kind of a reverse fashion, you see some of his regrets and what the moon signifies for him. And that's supposed to be the big sort of tear-jerking moment. I think one of the big issues from a narrative standpoint is that you're supposed to really empathize with this character, this man, but you never control him. You control these two scientists who are sort of engaged, sort of detached, and so it's like you're watching a game within a game, and so that makes it hard to really feel for this character. I mentioned the writing is overly verbose. And when you get to the pivotal scene, it's filled with typos and grammatical errors, and it was impossible. Like, the localization was fucking horrific, and in the most pivotal scene, to the point where I was laughing when I'm supposed to be crying.
That's rough.
And it just, it wasn't. It's not terrible, but ultimately I don't know why it was a game. It was one of those things where it's like, I think halfway through I started saying, like, this should be an anime, or this should be a film. Like, the story's cool. It's not that I need a game to be filled with blood and violence and shit like that. Like, I wanted to feel sort of emotionally charged throughout it, but it just didn't achieve it for me. And so I struggled a lot with that game. It was not fun to stream.
Well, I think they've taken that idea and actually made it a game that was good. It was Psychonauts, right? So, like, you know, that concept, more or less, of like entering someone's psyche and having this sort of visual experience with the mind, it can work as a game, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like a glorified YouTube cartoon, right? Which is kind of what it sounds like you're describing it as, is like just a web cartoon that was turned into a walking simulator, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, like, what is it, Tim Schafer that made Psychonauts? And he did an awesome job, and people love that game. I love that game because it's that idea that you're like going into other people's minds, and they may be like broken minds or full of regret or full of guilt or whatever. And so you're like dealing with that. And I like that idea, but it has to be a fun game, you know, and not just a walking simulator.
Yeah. There has to be a reason that a game is that's the medium, right? And I think generally, I always thought the reason things were games is because you can embody more a character, and you can maybe more immerse yourself in a world. Or, like, for example, I get more scared playing survival horror games than I do watching horror films. Because I identify with whoever it is that's running away or trying to shoot something or whatever's happening. And so I feel like that's one of the strengths of games, and it just didn't seem to really do a good enough job getting me in there, you know?
I think there's all these people that have these ideas about how they can re-envision, like, positioning of the viewer, of the player. I think gaming is at a point where it's cool that people can test it, you know, and I've seen games that are very cinematic, like, I don't know if you've played Journey or Abzu, Those are,
Abzu's great. Love Abzu.
yeah, they're fun games. I wouldn't buy them for more than 10, $15, but they're great, sort of mostly cinematic games. But you still have fun with control. You know, like there's still a fun. Call it a challenge. Yeah, with this game, when I watched you play it just seemed precisely like this could have been on Netflix.
Yeah.
I know there's an audience for those games though, because I know like Gone Home did really well. The Edith Finch game or whatever, Firewatch. There's a lot of those like walking simulators that they're just like you're just like seeing the narrative from a different kind of perspective. And that's all it is just telling you a story, but gamified kind of. Yeah. And I know that those do well. So there's an audience out there for people that want to just like play through a novel, basically.
And I'm not shitting on it as a genre at all.
No,
sorry for interrupting.
No. Go ahead.
I'm not shitting on it as a genre. I just think that maybe one of the differences, you know, with Edith Finch and games like Abzu, they have a visual component to it. Like, I think it works better in 3D for some reason. Even though I like 2D games, I'm you know, a boomer. There's something. If it's immersive, like in Abzu, I felt more. I like teared up a little bit playing Abzu, just a kind of overwhelmed, tingly spine thing, just by seeing. There's this scene where you just have a whale swim past. And that's all happens. A whale swims past, but it's done with this music, this sort of charged orchestral music, and it's just the perfect timing, and there's sort of something deep feeling to it that's intangible. So I'm into those games because Abzu doesn't have much you have to do either. I think you just find things and open doors basically. But just for whatever reason, maybe the aesthetics and the soundtrack didn't get it done for me. Anyway, I could go on for hours about this. Let's move on.
0 out of 10 tears.
0 out of 10 tears. Didn't make me cry, unfortunately. And I felt bad because I think people wanted me to. And I think I might have promised in one of the titles that I was going to.
Do you know when I cried in the stream? I cried only once. It was in Hollow Knight.
Really? Which part?
Yeah. Do you know, like the green worms? How do you call them? So you rescue all of them. Like, I was loving rescuing all those little guys. And then at the end, there is this papa worm, and he eats them all. And I was not expecting that at all. Like, and then when people in the stream, they knew it was going to happen. So they say, go and revisit. And then I entered. I was like, I don't know why I got very emotional because those guys were so cute, and I was like, oh my god, I'm crying. Yeah,
that's fucking.
I wouldn't
evil.
Expect.
That's evil.
It was
I didn't
evil.
know that happened in the game. I've never rescued them all because it's like this nice thing you're doing. You like that you take back and like, oh yay.
Yes. Well, there are some theories that actually he eats them, and then they would be like one day they would be like butterflies or something like that. But you never see that.
Sounds like a stretch. Sounds like somebody trying to make a happy ending.
Yeah, they've gone to the farm.
Yep, they're gone.